The morning fog hadn't yet lifted from the small town of Maplewood, Ohio, when 16-year-old Emily Harris walked through the doors of Lincoln High School. Her family had just relocated from Detroit after her mother secured a position at the local hospital, their fourth move in 3 years. Emily appeared unremarkable. Average height, slender build, brown hair pulled into a simple ponytail. Wearing worn jeans and a nondescript sweatshirt, she deliberately cultivated this ordinary appearance, hoping to blend into the background and avoid unwanted attention. What her new classmates couldn't know was that Emily Harris was the reigning Michigan Junior MMA champion. 4 years of intensive training at one of Detroit's premier gyms had transformed her into a formidable fighter, capable of holding her own against adult opponents. Her signature left hook could crack ribs, and her ground game impressed even seasoned coaches. However, at her mother's insistence, they had agreed to keep this secret in their new home. "Let's start fresh, honey," Dr. Sarah Harris had pleaded. "You know how people react when they discover your abilities? Let's just try to be a normal family." Emily had reluctantly agreed, though something inside her rebelled against the deception. In Detroit, she had earned respect precisely because she never allowed herself to be victimized. Here in Maplewood, she was simply the new girl, quiet, inconspicuous, and seemingly vulnerable. The trouble began on her first day. Emily sat alone at a corner table in the cafeteria when 3 boys approached her. Their leader, Brad Thompson, was tall and broad-shouldered with a cocky demeanor that screamed trouble. His companions Kyle and Jake flanked him like loyal enforcers. Well, Brad announced loudly, claiming the seat across from her. "Look what we have here. I'm Brad Thompson, and this is my school. These are my friends, Kyle and Jake." Emily looked up from her sandwich. "Nice to meet you. I'm Emily." "Emily from Detroit," Kyle sneered. "Think you're better than us, small-town folks." "I don't think that at all," Emily replied quietly, continuing to eat. Brad leaned forward, his voice taking on a threatening tone. "See, we have a system here. New kids need to show respect, especially those from the big city who think they're superior." Emily felt familiar anger stirring within her, the same rage that had driven her to martial arts years ago. But she had promised her mother. "I don't want any trouble," she said, moving to stand. Jake's hand clamped down on her shoulder. "This conversation isn't over. What exactly do you want?" Emily's voice carried a steel edge that the boys failed to recognize. "Just respect," Brad smirked. "Let's say $5 a day for protection. Bad things can happen to lonely girls in new schools." Emily studied their faces. Brad's predatory confidence, Kyle's cruel anticipation, Jake's casual menace. She could end this right now. One well-placed strike would send Brad to the infirmary, but her promise to her mother held her back. "I need to think about it," she finally said. "Sure thing," Brad replied magnanimously. "You have until tomorrow." And Emily, he leaned closer, his breath hot against her face. "Don't even think about running to the teachers. They love us here. My dad sponsors the football team." What followed was a systematic campaign of harassment. Brad and his friends made Emily's life miserable at every opportunity. During chemistry class, Kyle accidentally knocked over her notes, then stepped on them with his dirty shoes. In the hallway, Jake shoved her hard enough to slam her shoulder against the wall. Each incident was carefully orchestrated to appear accidental while delivering a clear message. The situation reached its peak during lunch the next day. Emily sat at her usual table when Brad approached with half the football team in tow. "Did you hear?" he announced loudly. "We have a new girl who thinks she's too good for our traditions." The cafeteria fell silent as all eyes turned toward them. "Brad, please," Emily said quietly. "I just want you to know your place," he replied, picking up her plate of soup. With deliberate cruelty, he slowly poured the hot contents into her lap. "Oops, how clumsy of me." The cafeteria erupted in laughter. Someone started recording with their phone. Emily sat motionless, feeling the scalding soup soak through her clothes. Inside her, a familiar cold fury began to build, controlled, calculated, and infinitely more dangerous than the mindless rage of bullies. "Why are you just sitting there?" Brad continued to mock. "Clean up after yourself." Emily slowly stood, soup dripping from her jeans. She looked directly into Brad's eyes, her voice cutting through the laughter like a blade. "You made a big mistake. What are you going to do?" he laughed. "Tell the principal. Call mommy." Emily said nothing. She simply picked up her backpack and walked out, leaving puddles of soup and the sound of laughter behind her. In the restroom, Emily tried washing the stains from her clothes, her hands trembling not from fear, but from barely contained rage. For years of training had taught her to control her aggression, to channel it productively. But now that control was slipping. She pulled out her phone and called her former coach in Detroit. "Master Johnson, this is Emily Harris." "Emily, how are things at the new school?" "Not good. I have a problem with local bullies." After Emily explained the situation, her coach sighed. "Listen carefully. I know your mother asked you to keep your skills secret, and that's wise. But there are times when secrets become dangerous. If you continue to tolerate this treatment, they'll only become more brutal. Sometimes, only force stops people like this. Brad, what do you suggest? If you decide to act, do it smartly. Not in school, not in front of witnesses. And remember, you protect yourself, it's your right. Emily spent the rest of the day planning. After school, she waited in the library until most students had left, then made her way to the athletic building. She found Brad leaving soccer practice, alone. "Brad?" she called. He turned, grinning when he saw her. "Look who's back for more. We need to talk about what happened today." "What's to talk about?" "I thought it was pretty funny." Emily stepped closer. They were alone in the empty parking lot, the perfect place to end this. "You know what, Brad? I have a proposition. You're in no position to make propositions, one-on-one, right here, right now. If you win, I'll pay you $10 a day instead of 5, and I'll do whatever you say. If I win, you leave me alone forever, and apologize to the entire school." Brad burst out laughing. "Are you serious? You want to fight me? Girl, I've been playing football since I was 10. I bench pressed 300 pounds. And you," he gave her a disdainful look, "you look like a strong wind could blow you away. Then you have nothing to fear." Something in her tone made Brad take a closer look. Emily stood perfectly still, arms hanging loosely at her sides. But there was a confidence in her posture he hadn't seen before. "Okay," he finally said. "But no holds barred, anything goes." "Deal." They moved to the center of the parking lot. Brad stripped off his hoodie, showing off his muscular physique, broad shoulders, developed chest, powerful arms. Years of training had clearly paid off. That Emily simply removed her jacket, remaining in a plain t-shirt next to Brad. She seemed even more fragile. "Last chance to change your mind," he offered with a grin. "Thanks, but no thanks. Your funeral." Brad charged forward, intending to end the fight with his first blow. His fist flew toward Emily's face with enough force to break her nose. What happened next completely shattered his understanding of reality. Emily didn't even try to dodge. Instead, she took a small step left, letting the punch miss her head while raising her right hand to block the attack with her forearm. The movement was so fast and precise that Brad didn't have time to process what was happening. Then Emily struck back. Her left hand shot forward like a piston, aimed straight at his solar plexus. The blow was short but devastatingly powerful. 4 years of training, thousands of hours of practice, all her hidden strength concentrated in that single movement. Emily's fist slammed into Brad's chest. The boy doubled over, gasping for air. As his diaphragm spasmed, his lungs refused to work. Panicked attempts to breathe forced him to his knees. "What? How?" he croaked. Still not understanding what had happened, Emily stood over him, completely calm. "First rule of fighting, never underestimate your opponent." Brad tried to rise, but his legs wouldn't obey. The blow to his solar plexus had been delivered with surgical precision strong enough to paralyze, but not to cause serious injury. "You do boxing," he choked out. "Not boxing." Emily crouched beside him so their faces were level. "Mixed martial arts. 4 years of intensive training. Michigan State junior champion. 23 fights, 21 wins." Brad's eyes widened in horror. "You know what's interesting?" Emily continued. "I didn't even use a tenth of my capabilities. That punch at full force would have gone through your ribs and into your spine." She stood and took a few steps back. "I moved here hoping to start a normal life. I was tired of everyone being afraid of me. My mom asked me to hide my skills, and I agreed. I wanted to be a normal girl." Brad was finally able to breathe normally, and slowly rose to his feet, clutching his stomach. "But you didn't give me that chance." Emily's voice became colder. "You thought I was an easy target. You were wrong." "Listen, I didn't know," Brad began. "Of course you didn't. And now you have a choice. Either you honor our agreement, leave me alone, and apologize to the school, or tomorrow, I'll show everyone what I'm really capable of. In front of witnesses? With video footage? What do you think your friends on the football team will say when they find out their captain was knocked out in 30 seconds by a girl half a head shorter?" Brad knew he was trapped. His reputation, his status at school, everything he held, dear hung by a thread. "Okay," he said hoarsely. "Okay, I'll do it, smart boy." Emily picked up her jacket and headed for the exit. "Also, Brad, if you or your friends even look at me or any other kid at this school the wrong way, I'll know about it. And next time, this conversation will be very different." The next morning, the entire school was in shock. Brad Thompson, the terror of underclassmen and unquestioned authority among upperclassmen, approached Emily in the main hallway in front of everyone and loudly apologized. "I'm sorry, Emily," he said, without a trace of sarcasm. "What I did yesterday was wrong. I was a complete idiot." Students stood with their mouths open. No one could believe what they were witnessing. "Thank you, Brad," Emily replied calmly. "Apology accepted." From that day forward, the atmosphere at school changed dramatically. Brad and his friends not only left Emily alone, they became her invisible protectors. When younger students tried to bully others, one look from Brad was enough to make them retreat. But the most amazing change happened a week later when a group of girls approached Emily, led by Jessica Martin, one of the most popular students in school. "Emily," Jessica began hesitantly, "we heard, there are rumors that you really know how to fight. Why do you ask? The thing is, we have a problem. There are guys from another school who constantly harass us after classes." The teachers can't do anything because it's not on school grounds. And we can't tell our parents, they'll just forbid us from going anywhere. Emily listened as Jessica explained how a group of seniors from neighboring Westside High regularly stalked Lincoln High girls near the bus stop. The harassment was escalating, and the previous day, one of them had tried to grab Jessica's hand. How many are there? Emily asked. 5, all big, about 17 or 18 years old. Emily thought about it. 5 to 1 wasn't great odds, even for her, but the girls needed help. Okay, she said finally, you're like as usual after school. Today, I'll be there. At 3:45, Emily positioned herself at the bus stop, pretending to read while keeping watch. Jessica and her friends arrived a few minutes later, standing nervously nearby. The West Side boys arrived right on schedule. 5, athletic teenagers with cocky attitudes and predatory grins. Their leader, a tall blonde with a neck tattoo, immediately approached the girls. Oh, look who's here, he said loudly. Our favorite princesses from Lincoln. Leave us alone, Travis. Jessica tried to sound firm. Are we bothering you? We're just talking. Travis smirked, reaching toward Jessica's face. The girl flinched, but one of his friends positioned himself behind her, cutting off escape. Don't be afraid, beautiful. I don't bite. Emily intervened. Excuse me, she said, approaching the group. Could you please step aside? The bus will be here soon, and you're blocking the way. Travis turned and gave her a disdainful look. Who are you? I go to Lincoln, and these girls are my friends. I see, he chuckled. Well, get lost while I talk to my friends. I'm afraid that won't work. You see, they don't want to talk to you. Travis took a step toward Emily. At nearly 6 feet tall, she seemed tiny next to him. Listen, little brat, mind your own business or you'll regret it. What exactly will I regret? Emily asked calmly. The other boys burst out laughing. They found it amusing that this fragile-looking girl wasn't intimidated by their leader. You know what? Travis turned to his friends. I like this little girl. She's got spirit. Maybe we should take her with us. One of the guys, a stocky brunette with gold teeth, moved behind Emily. Good idea, Trav. It's been a while since we've had a new plaything. He tried to grab Emily by the shoulders. That was his mistake. Emily didn't even turn around. She simply jerked her left elbow back, aiming for her attacker's solar plexus. The blow was short but devastating. The guy doubled over, gasping for breath, and collapsed to his knees. What the hell? Travis began. But he didn't have time to finish. Emily turned to face him, and something in her eyes made him stop talking. It was the look of a predator, cold, calculating, utterly fearless. You have 2 minutes to leave, she said quietly. I won't give you another warning. Travis couldn't believe what was happening. A tiny girl was threatening him and his friends. Are you out of your mind? He barked. I could take you down with one hand. He didn't get to finish. Emily moved so fast they didn't have time to react. One moment she was standing 2 meters away. The next her fist slammed into his liver with surgical precision. Travis felt his insides clench as he doubled over, gasping for air. Immediately, he received a knee to the face. The cartilage of his nose crunched, and blood began flowing from his nostrils. Travis fell backward, trying not to lose consciousness. The entire attack had taken less than 3 seconds. The other 3 boys stood in shock. Their leader, whom they'd thought invulnerable, was lying on the pavement in a pool of his own blood. Who's next? Emily asked, turning to face them. No one moved. They had seen what happened to Travis and understood this girl meant business. Wise decision? Emily nodded. Now, take your friend and leave. And if I see any of you around, the girls, from our school again, this will be a very different conversation. The boys picked up the groaning Travis and hurried away. The one Emily had hit first was still kneeling, clutching his stomach. You too, Emily told him. Get lost. When the bullies were out of sight, Jessica and her friends approached Emily with admiration and gratitude in their eyes. That was incredible, Jessica breathed. How did you do that? It's a long story, Emily shrugged. The main thing is, they won't bother you anymore. Word of the bus stop incident spread quickly throughout the school. The story grew with each telling, but the core remained the same. The new girl from Detroit had single-handedly defeated 5 West Side seniors. Students from different classes approached Emily, some just wanting to meet her, others asking for advice on standing up for themselves. Several girls asked if she could teach them self-defense. Sure, Emily agreed. I think it would be helpful. She arranged with the school wrestling coach to use the gym after hours. Within a week, she had a class of 20 students, mostly girls, but a few boys too. Emily taught them basic self-defense, proper stance, target selection, and how to break free from holds. Remember, she told her students, the most important thing in a fight isn't strength, it's technique and the ability to control the situation. The best fight is the one you can avoid. But if a fight is unavoidable, hit first, hit hard, and finish quickly. The classes became popular not only with students but with teachers as well. Principal Anderson even suggested making self-defense an official part of the physical education program. Emily, he said, calling her into his office, what you're doing is very important. Kids these days need to know how to protect themselves. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. I talked to your mother. She told me about your achievements in Detroit. Why did you hide your abilities? Emily thought about it. I thought it would be easier that I could live a normal life, and how's that working out? You know what I realized? Hiding who you really are isn't living, it's existing. Real life begins when you stop being afraid to be yourself. The principal smiled. Wise words for a 60-year-old. I had to grow up early. A month after the West Side incident, representatives from a major mixed martial arts federation came to town for a talent showcase. The event was held at the local sports center, and many Lincoln High students attended. Emily hadn't planned to participate. She was just there as a spectator with Jessica and other friends. But when the organizers announced the ring was open to anyone who wanted to demonstrate their skills, the crowd began chanting her name. Emily, Emily, Emily. Mike Rotner, a former professional fighter representing the federation, noticed a commotion. What's going on? He asked an organizer. The students want one of their classmates to get in the ring. They say she's a state champion. How old is she? 16? Rotner frowned. Too young for a serious fight, but we could arrange exhibition sparring with one of our girls. He approached the crowd. Where's this champion of yours? Jessica pushed Emily forward. There she is. Rotner studied the short, slender girl in jeans and a plain t-shirt. She didn't look like a fighter. Are you really a state champion? I was. In Michigan. What weight class? 125. We have a girl about your weight. Want to do some light sparring? No punches to the head. Protective gear. Emily looked at her classmates. Their eyes were filled with excitement and anticipation. They believed in her, and she couldn't let them down. A few minutes later, Emily stood in the center of the ring, wearing a protective helmet and gloves. Her opponent was Kelly Rose, a 20-year-old rising professional with 4 amateur fights under her belt. Don't worry, kid, Kelly said during warm-ups. It's just exhibition sparring. Emily nodded. She felt at home, the smell of sweat and leather, the bright lights, the noise of the crowd. All of it was familiar from her childhood. The referee gave the command to begin. Kelly started cautiously, studying her opponent. She threw a few light jabs, testing Emily's reactions. Emily calmly dodged or blocked the punches, in no hurry to attack. Not bad defense, Kelly thought, and decided to step up her game. She threw a 3-punch combination: left jab, right cross, kick to the body. The technique was impeccable, the speed impressive, but Emily was ready. She dodged the first 2 punches, caught the leg, and executed a perfect sweep. Kelly lost her balance and fell. Emily immediately followed her to the ground. On the ground, Kelly was strong, but Emily was stronger. A few quick transitions, and she had control, trapping her opponent in a chokehold. Kelly tried to break free, but the hold was applied with perfect technique and precise force. She was forced to tap the mat, signaling submission. The gym erupted in applause. The Lincoln High students screamed and whistled, not believing their eyes. Their classmate had just defeated a professional athlete. Mike Rotner approached the ring with surprise written across his face. Where did you train? He asked Emily. In Detroit, at Master Johnson's gym. Johnson? I know him. Great trainer. Rotner paused. Listen, would you like to take this career seriously? You have all the makings of a champion. Emily looked at her classmates, at their excited faces, at her mother, who stood in the crowd with a proud smile. Thank you for the offer, she said. But for now, I just want to be schoolgirl. I have more important things to do here. Chapter 10. The legacy after the exhibition performance. Emily's fame extended far beyond the school. She was written about in the local newspaper, featured on regional television. But for Emily, that wasn't the most important thing. The main thing was that she had finally found her place in life. She was no longer just the new girl trying to fit in. She had become a leader, someone others looked up to. More than 50 people now attend her self-defense classes. The girls in her class had become more confident, and the boys treated everyone with genuine respect. Even Brad Thompson had changed. He'd stopped being the school bully and started helping younger kids. One day, he approached Emily after class. You know, he said hesitantly, I wanted to thank you. For what? For stopping me back then. I was a real jerk. If you hadn't put me in my place, I might have become even worse. Emily smiled. We all make mistakes, Brad. The important thing is learning from them. I'm learning. And if you ever need help, you can count on me. It was a turning point not only for Brad but for the entire school. The atmosphere changed dramatically. Bullying disappeared. Harassment of newcomers stopped. Students began helping each other instead of looking for victims. Years later, Emily would become a renowned sports psychologist, working with young athletes across the country. She would open training centers, write books, and inspire countless young people to find their inner strength. But it all started in that small town, at that small school, with one girl who decided to stop hiding who she really was. In the gymnasium at Lincoln High School, a photograph hangs on the wall, a picture of a determined young woman with fire in her eyes. Below it, a plaque reads, Emily Harris. Class of 2021, ***. She taught us that true strength lies in the willingness to protect others. In each new generation of students, looking at that photograph, learns the story of how one girl changed an entire school. They understand the most important lesson of all. Anyone can be a hero. You just need to find the courage to take the first step. The story ends not with loud fanfares, but with quiet confidence that the world became a little better because of one person who found the strength not to hide, but to shine.